Hi, good afternoon. This is Malu from Hearts&Minds Development Center. Welcome. I hope you guys are staying well during this lockdown period. So welcome to our Being Whole, Being Me series. And today we're going to speak to a very good friend, I would say, of mine, a client and a friend who has braved to be here. So it's really special that I am very, very happy and excited and deeply grateful to invite and introduce Farop Sharif to you. Farop, please come on screen. Very good. Hi, Farop.
Hey, hi, Mala. Good afternoon, Mala. How are you?
I'm good. Good afternoon. And thank you for saying yes to me. I've been very, very blessed, I must say, since I started Being Whole, Being Me series, that most of the people I've approached have said yes. And, thank you for saying yes, because I do know you don't easily say yes.
No, for me, it's a privilege. I must thank you for allowing me this opportunity, Mala. It's a rare opportunity that, yes, you're right. I wouldn't say yes easily, but I'm saying yes because I know you have good intention, and I know that through your series, you try to inspire people. So I thought, it's a collaboration, a partnership that we are trying to forge.
Thank you. Because so thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me because I do have people asking why am I doing this, and what is it in for me? And you're absolutely right, because the journey of Being Whole, Being Me actually started because we wanted to bring stories about what does it mean for individuals to be authentic, and how different individuals choose this authentic journey, and
Right.
How they make choices and decision, because there would be other individuals who are also experiencing similar stuff, and we want someone to have walked ahead of us, and perhaps we can relate to that. Yeah. So Farah, tell me, how have you been? How has COVID been treating you?
It's been ups and downs. I'm sure everybody, yourself included, right? Sometimes we feel very happy. Sometimes we feel very sad because we can't see the people whom we love. We can't, we are social people, a social creature, right? So we must speak to someone, manja, talk, but we don't have the opportunity anymore. And I think it is a trying time for I think everyone, right? Not just you and I, not just the limited few as a group of people, but every one of us have this connection issues. Kita tak boleh connect with people. We cannot let go. We cannot find outlet to let go of our frustration. every day, you know, when you work in the office, every day is like you come to an empty office or almost near empty office, and tomorrow if a batch of new people come in, and the day after. So after whatever that you talk today and you want to continue tomorrow, you can't. And then you see that person maybe another half a month later, and then you try, hey, what is it? You nak cakap the other day, and you know you don't build bridges anymore. You don't build connection, and there's coldness. And I feel the longer we are in MCO, right, we're getting colder as a person. We don't connect with people. There's no more fire. So I talk to one person as though that person doesn't exist, but that person used to be someone I adore. But you know, because you don't see that person for 30 days, for 45 days, and you are trying to break the ice, you know, that like, you know, your first time meeting a person. So that's how COVID is for me. I really hope that we will, you know, this will end next week or tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so too. So tell me, right, why is this warmth important for you? Because you say connecting with people is important for you, and you know, going into a space where people are around is important for you, right? And so I'm just wondering, you know, why is that important for you, Farop?
Maybe I explain to you. I give you some history lah, huh?
Yes, we love.
20 years ago, I started customer service, so about 21 years ago, right? So I worked for this international bank for 14 years, and I started off as a customer service. I find my footing. Now I know this customer space is somewhere or somewhat I'm good at. Something that I'll be able to contribute positively, right? And because of that, I create an ecosystem where the ecosystem is all about connecting with people, right? And for the longest time, since then until like maybe last year, right? So March last year, connecting people to me means having chat, having coffees, and being able to influence decision, not in the meeting room, but over coffees, over drink. Many of my deals, so to speak, right, closed during coffee session. Many of my aha moment happened during coffee session. And when I started, or I left the organization, so I was with an insurance company. So when I started with insurance company, the morale of the people, you know, we transformed from nowhere to number one and number two insurer of when being surveyed, right? So we don't transform overnight because, you know, we be better at what we are doing and we improve our processes and policies. Of course, that happened. But I think more importantly, people changed. How do they change, right? So I thought every day I should meet one or two person or one or two of my colleagues to talk about issues, not just professional issues at work. It's also to talk about issues that they face at home, because whatever that they face at home manifested through their work and the output of their work ethic, right? So, and that worked very well for me. And for throughout the year, every other day or once a week, I would have coffee with 4 or 5 person. I couldn't do it now. So the cornerstone of my success, if I can put it that way, right, is actually connecting with people.
Nice. So I mean, I know we had an interesting meeting where I don't think we liked each other in the beginning. but that seemed to be the story, right? And people who are meeting me for the first time, I think, like, why does she say this about everyone? She said, you know, they never liked her and she never liked them, and then we become pretty good buddies, right? In fact, more than buddies, I think the people I bring up, you know, in Being Whole, Being Me, are people whom I deeply respect, right? So it's been interesting in the way we started and how we're able to connect, right? Now, but I wanted to check with you is that, have you always been interested in people's personal journeys, or is it something new that you've picked up?
Not because really.
Yeah. Okay.
Not really. I'll be honest with you. It's all about me growing as a person.
You're always honest, Farop. That's what gets me all the time.
Yeah, that's why you don't like me at the very beginning. That's why I didn't like you at the very beginning, right? Because of our honesty. But you know what is important? Because we learn to live with each other's strengths and weaknesses, right? So, and hence why I like to be honest with you, with everybody. I always, my motto in the past is always me first, right? So as I grow in my career, it's all about how do I be better? How do I outshine others? How do I deliver? If one person doing it for say 1 day, I could have done it say maybe in 2 weeks, 2 hours, 2 weeks pull up. So 2 hours. So it's all about how do I compete? I'm very competitive and whatnot, right? So that's how I started my career. So I started my career as a contractor in a bank. I worked 4 hours. So I got paid, 22 years ago, 21 years ago, the amount of money that they pay for a contractor 4 hours is really good, exceptionally good. So, and for some others, right, they take it as, okay, because I get paid already enough, right? Maybe slightly less than permanent staff, but it's only 4 hours of work. But for me, I work 4 hours and I work another 4 hours, or additional 4 hours to get additional money or to be better at what I'm doing. So that was how I started the me first. But as I grow, as I learn, as I given opportunity by some of my bosses, I've learned that life is no longer about me, right? So my success as I'm leading a team, as I'm leading the department, so the success measure, the key success factor is about the people. So and I find it's very interesting because it's all about you in the past. So suddenly you need to make it about other people, and you need to be able to relate to them. I find it a little bit challenging, but I think I enjoy it. After a while, you understand that everyone have a different journey, and you reflect back how difficult life had been for you, and how you can make it easier for others as well. And you are the bridge. I'm not a magician, so I can't create magic, right? But I would be able to give them the thing that I can give is my time and my attention. And sometimes I find that time and attention, right, is all they need. And I have some staff, right, that used to have problem, and we connect at different level, no longer as a boss or as the staff, right? So we moved from that level to more personal level, and suddenly the staff changed. And the stuff changed not because of miracle happen or whatnot, but because somebody spend time talking and understanding. And I also take the opportunity to tell her or him my problem, because as human, I also have problem. And I felt enlightened as well at the same time. So it's actually a win-win. So that's how I evolved from me first to, become I wouldn't know whether I have fully become one, but what I'm trying to get at is to build a team or build a ecosystem where I'm the conduit, I'm the catalyst that they will be able to use to become successful at that what they are, and automatically the success reflect on me. So that's how it is today.
Nice. I have a couple of questions that I'm very intrigued about some of the things you said. But before that, I just want to quickly welcome my dear friends who take time to be with us at 12. Hi, Alice. Elizabeth is here. Gerald is here. Good afternoon, Gerald. Thanks for coming. Oh, Alia is here. Hi, Alia. Thank you very much for coming. My partner in crime in Singapore, Shamini, is here. And yes, she loves my sari. So, okay, it was worth getting dressed today, Sham. Daniel Go, thank you for coming. Daniel Go, he's coming for the first time, so he gets a different kind of a welcome. Luis Marias, thanks again for joining us. And Luis has a question for you, I think. And before we look at his question, I'm just going to say hi, Amy. Heard so much about you. Looking forward to meeting you. And Thiru Kumar Maheswaran, welcome to our program. Thanks for joining us. So Luis Marias has a question for you. He says, this is so true. The fire is slowly subsiding for what you said just now. And I am personally starting to love my loneliness. Is that a bad thing? Luis is asking. So, Farop, what's your take on this? Luis is enjoying enjoying his loneliness.
I think we have to adapt, Mala. So, and I think for me, I would use it. I would use a downtime to reflect And I would use it as an opportunity for me to think about what I can do or what I have done in the past and what I can do better in the future. And I agree with him. Sometimes, right, all I want to do is to switch on the aircon and watch TV or read a book and don't be contacted by anyone. But I've also find that at the end of the day, right, it's fine. During that moment and during that downtime, it's about me time. I think it's fine, but we need to get out and we need to remind ourselves why we are here and who do we need to contact to have a contact with. And like a couple of days ago, I have exactly what Luis is describing. I enjoy. I don't want anyone. It's like leave. Yeah, don't disturb me. I have that. I switch off my phone and I switch off my social media and whatnot for a while because I just love my me time. But I realize when I get connected with a person or two, actually, I feel a lot better. So it is not a bad thing, but we need to get out of it and we need to then start living a life. For me, it has worked, and I hope it will work for Luis as well.
Thank you, Luis. So I'm going to be Manyebo and say, I think it's just a play of words. We all need our alone time, but just make sure that aloneness doesn't lead to being lonely, because the emotions attached to being alone and being lonely are different emotions, and one helps us to charge ourselves, the other one helps us to discharge. And I think the wisdom is knowing when to do what that is right for you, that works for you, right? So it's not just going into one space of I want to be alone, or wanting to connect. So, and I'm very sure your balance, Luis. Luis is a very people person. Another friend from 20 odd years ago.
Hi, Luis.
Hey, yeah. And I'm going to say hello, Gopalan. Thanks for joining us. So you mentioned just now that, you have this need to compete. And I think people who know you know that, right?
Yes.
I know that of you because I've worked with you pretty closely, I would say. And what I love about you, right, and what I've always been intrigued, like, you are not sorry about wanting to stand out. You're not sorry to want to outshine. You're not sorry that you want to be at the best that you do, and you're very loud about it, right? And that has always, like, I've like looked at you and I'm like, voila, way, this Farop just says it as it is, because I know a lot of us want to shine because we all want to be remembered, we all want to be validated, right? But a lot of us hide behind the need to be validated and to outshine, and we say, no, I'm not like that, I'm humble and stuff like that. So tell me why and what makes you want to outshine, because I know you, right? If you're going to do something, you're going to shine. If you can't shine, you're not going to take it. Am I right?
You are absolutely right. I've made friends because of it. I also made enemies
because of that. So tell us,
Yeah.
where is this need of needing to work so hard? Because I know you work very hard. Behind that smile, behind that coffee, behind that buffet lunch that you have, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that. So why do you work yourself so hard to outshine and compete?
It's actually an extremely personal question, Mala. But I thought, but yes, I'll tell you. Don't worry, I'll tell you. Now, 20 odd years ago, I started my banking career. I was with one of the foreign bank, not for less than a year, slightly more than a year. My boss told me that it's over some discussion and we have some disagreement, and I disagree with him. And he told me jokingly, after he said, okay, you balik, you what, like this, like this, like this. I said, okay. Then he said, Farop, you should be a hairdresser, not a banker. I don't see you being successful as a banker. Then he was joking about it, Mala. He was so, then he laughed and I also laughed. But it made me thinking, again, there's nothing wrong being a hairdresser, right? It's all about, what you want to be in life. And for me at that point in time, I want to be a banker. And I work pretty hard, not as hard as I would imagine. Someone said to me that you are nothing but whatever his perception of hairdresser. I find it rude, and for me, being hairdresser is a noble job. I love. If I want to be a hairdresser, I should be a hairdresser, and I shouldn't apologize for it, right? But I think the way that he said is that I have no future ahead of me. So that was the meaning behind it, right? So it's not about being the hairdresser; it's about him telling me that I don't have future ahead of me. So might as well I don't try hard in banking because there's nothing I could do. So that was my trigger point, right? I have second trigger point. So every now and then I'll get um, challenged by some people who think, the definition of success should be, 1, 2, and 3. And anything beyond this 1, 2, and 3, it is not a true reflection or the real definition of success. So because of what he said, that my ex-boss said 20 odd years ago, so I work harder. Hence, like I told you just now, from 4 hours, I work 8 hours, and I made a lot of money because of it. I bought my first house at the age of 23, and I'm thankful for it because I think without that challenge, right, without that being told that there's no future ahead of you in banking, so do something else, I wouldn't have pushed myself. So I push and push and push. So maybe about 10 years ago or so, uh, I'm already climbing my career and doing what I like to do. But then I've met another person, and he was a friend of a friend, and we were in a social gathering. I'm already then forget about what my ex-boss used to tell me, right? So I've totally forgotten about it. Then he asked, hey, how are you? We've met a few times. And I said, yes. And he said, oh, I love talking to you and yada, yada, and all the stuff. And then he told me, oh, where do you work? And I said, oh, I worked in a bank. And this is another bank. And subsequently, I've moved to this bank. And then he said, oh, you work in a bank? And I said, yes, I work in a bank. So then he said, why are you so shocked? You've met me in the bank before. Then they said, no. I would imagine that you were in a cosmetic counter.
Wow.
And I said, really? Again, there's nothing wrong being, there's nothing wrong being working in a cosmetic counter. Oh, it's fine. Then I said, why do you say so? And he said, oh, I thought you are just lucky to make a lot of sales from cosmetic that you can buy a designer item. So that's how I see you as a refined person, but I also see you as a refined person that work in a cosmetic counter. And I said, I'm surprised that you were in the bank. And his demeanor suddenly changed, right? So from being arrogant about things in life, he was arrogant about it. He's not bad, but he was a little bit on arrogant side. Suddenly he becomes so nice. It's like the way he treat me over because he knows that I told him I'm a banker, and suddenly he said, oh, and he was so warm and friendly, and the choice of word is a lot better, and the questions that he asks is more refined than that kind of question that he used to ask. And I thought that is not right. And I told myself that why am I allowing myself to be judged, and why am I allowing this question to even be asked by this person? And I then realized that everybody would have their opinion and perception, and I cannot live up by their opinion and perception. So I can only live up to my own standards. And then I realized, and I think for the last 10 years, it had been my philosophy. I have this quote, and I like to quote it to you, right? Own your decision and own who you are, but without apology.
Ooh.
Right? So, and this is from Anna Wintour, how I adore her. it's about us wanting to be the best, right? It's about us wanting to be able to contribute to the society and to be a better person and to create a better society. But there will be someone who will tell you that you're not good enough, or you are not conforming to the society standards, or the definition of success should be A, B, and C, or that race or your preference or your whatever, right? So you will be told, and the only way that they can win is by you responding to it or reacting to it, right? So when you react, they'll be like, yay, true enough, this person is very emotional. The one thing that I always get, and even until today, maybe not in the last few months, but whenever I said something, people will always say, "Yeah, you're a diva." People say, "A, just accept A lah." But for me, it's not about that, right? For me, and that is the mentality that people have. They always think that when I say something, or people like me say something, right, it's about diva. Or if I challenge something, it's about diva. But when others, and I see sometimes, I see this difference in treatment. When others say the same thing, and they say, "Oh, he is very firm in his decision," but when I say it, I'm being a diva. So for me, that is not right, and that is, why I think and why I said I wouldn't apologize for being who I am. Saying what I have in mind is not because I want to intimidate anyone, or I want to disagree with anyone, or want to make anyone feel upset about things, right? It's about me trying to tell that in my mind, this is how I see things. This is my opinion. Respect that. So that's why, and I think that's why, we had that love-hate relationship, right? Because at the very beginning of our relationship, you said A, and I said, no, I see that as B. And I think we learn how to respect each other. That's how friendship fostered, right? So that's how the foundation of our friendship. We agree to disagree, and yet we can let go and then move on as a friend and talk, and then go back to the same topic, argue about it again, and we don't take it personal, right? So, and that's how I appreciate conversation. That's how I appreciate disagreement and discussion, right? So I believe that if you are right, you stand for it. You stand for what you believed in. If you are wrong, you apologize. Even that you think that you're right. And I always tell my colleagues, right? Don't take my word for it. I like to be challenged. I like to be proven wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm not going to hesitate to apologize. So that's who I am. That's how I'm built over the last 20 years, being in the banking and the financial services, Mala.
Nice. So I love, so one of those stories that I enjoyed listening and that inspired me is the story of being underestimated, because I think a lot of us, and Bernadette says is spot on, right? Because, how many of us have had the experience of being underestimated, right? So I definitely fall into the category, which is why that story is very close to my heart. When I wanted to become a trainer and I was interviewed and they asked me, so why do you want to join our company? I said, I want to become a trainer. And I remember the interviewer told me, he said, but do you know you're a woman? And not only he said
God.
that, no, but he's a good friend. He was just dealing with his realities then, to be
Right.
fair. He is not a chauvinist, right? He was just trying to tell me, can you be more practical about life? Look around. All our trainers are men, right? You are trying to get into the men's world and you will not make it, right? And and so for me it's like, okay, he said I can't make it. And I've always been told about many things that I can't make. And the moment they say it, I just want to try really, really hard to
Right.
make it, right? And so we've had a conversation and he apologized to me. I said, no, actually, I know you had nothing against me, right? But because you are coming from your own mindset, your own limiting belief of what you see at that moment, right? And this is really important when you say that, you live your life without, you own your decisions, you own your choices without an apology, right? Because you know what you want and you need to go for it. And you got to you got to take charge of what you want in life and not blame people, right? And that's the thing. And for every choice you make, there will be critics, and
Yep.
they are living their truth. We just need to decide what's our truth, and that's what you're saying. Now, with the audience, what I would love to hear is that, have you ever been underestimated? As to, has someone told you, you can't fit in here, you won't be able to do this, right? If you have, really put it on the comment section so that we know, right? I know some of you have got stories, but yeah, just put down one area someone told you and they underestimated your ability, and bringing your best out. Put it out. As you do that, yeah, Alia says, be your own honest diva. So what if I'm a diva? I'll just continue being a diva, right? All right, Tiffany, hi Tiffany. We are each born as unique creature. People should just embrace each other's uniqueness. I love the concept of Brene Brown that says, own your story, walk in your own story, right? And when you do that, and when you have critics and criticism, just make sure people who are your critics have walked in the arena. That means they have walked your life. If people don't walk in your story, they have no right to criticize you, right? And that's what you've actually proven. So tell me, what is the most painful thing that people have said to you about you that became your greatest driver?
Quite a few. I'm lucky. I have supporters. I have someone who believed in me. I have someone who said, in each of my career choices that I have made, right? I have someone who stood by my side and said that, I'm going to give you an opportunity and you will be doing what you want to do, and tell me what you want to do and how that person can be the catalyst to my success. And I have always had that, and having it right now, even in my current job. But I think throughout my career cycle, I've been told many times that I won't have, like, for example, the society that we are in today will not be able to accept if I'm the face of the company, for example. So appearing in media is not something that an opportunity, or it's not something in the pipeline for me, for example. I had also been told that certain things that I do may not be accepted by the colleague around me, and they worried about I'm being fit into the environment. So those are the some of these challenges, some of the negativity around the conversation that I've had. But I don't see it as negative, Mala, and I chose I chose to be I chose to be myself, and I know by being myself, it comes with challenges, and you can't say that oh yeah, I get discriminated, I'm the victim. So it's an easy task. I'm not saying I couldn't. It's an easy task for me and say I get discriminated, I get I've been prejudiced against and whatnot, right? So it's an easy. It's a victim card that I can play. I thought, hey, let's do something else, right? For the longest time, I used criticism as a means and ways for me to be better at what I'm doing. For example, I use them as a driver, right? Things like this, I see, for me, the moment they say it, right, they don't see me as a threat. And like you, Mala, it's a reality. They don't mean it, right? It's the reality that they are in. It's just a manifestation of the reality. And they say, Farop, I understand, but I cannot allow you to be at our priority banking, right? As good as you are, but you're not a priority banking material, for example. So, and I thought, yes, of course, because of the society think that way. But you know what I did? I managed a VIP portfolio eventually. So, from not fit into managing a premier banking to managing a group of high net worth, the top 1% of the country, for me, that's more than that. For me, that's the ultimate revenge, I'll call it, right? So I use it as an opportunity. I use it as a catalyst. I use it as a stepping stone for me to do better. I want to do A, but you say I'm not good enough for A. Let me do B and C and D and F, and then I'll tell you go back to A and say that I would have done A easily. So that had been my philosophy all this while. And some people, some may see me as they are diva and arrogant and over the top. But for me, no, I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm not showing. For me, I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for anyone. So if they are offended by it, that's why I say I don't. And I own it without an apology because I don't mean it that way. I don't mean to make you feel the way you're feeling, but that's how I felt and how I overcome my challenges, right? So I'd be better at whatever people throw at me, and because of that, if you feel I'm arrogant, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to apologize for being who I am. So that's how I have been living my life all maybe the last 15 years or so.
Nice. I like the side of you that is revengeful because I'm that way too.
I'm a snake.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm a snake, but yeah, I am revengeful. But being revengeful is the right thing, right? So let me ask you. So I'm very interested to know when. I mean, now I suppose with so much of experience and having gone up the corporate ladder, it's a lot more easier to inhale all of this criticism and not let it affect you and get it out of your system, right? But I'm assuming when you're younger, it's very painful because you don't have sometimes enough dimensions of thinking to say, I know you're saying something hurtful. You may not mean it. That's your limiting belief. I mean, I don't think we have that earlier, right? But as we go into that, right? So, in moments where people, and I know people have said very hurtful things to you, right? When people say these things that's so hurtful that undermines your capability, right? That discriminates your talent, and you need to work so much more harder to prove yourself, right? So if someone just needs to qualify with an A and B, you have to do the C, D, E, and F, right? To say, you know what, I'm good enough, right? Now, when you are discriminated or there's a prejudice against you, or when people criticize you with all the negativity, the emotions that you experience, right? Now, what did you do to get through that phase when you were experiencing it then? I'm not talking about now because now I know you do it in style and like a diva, right? But then when you were a bit younger, when it was new, when you didn't understand the complexity of human harshness, right? How did you deal with it? What was your go-to?
I find, how shall I say this, Mala? I feel inadequate. I'll be honest with you. I feel, I don't have that feeling for the longest time. But now that you ask, when I look back, maybe 20 years ago, I feel sad. Um, uh, sometimes some words can trigger you. Sometimes you feel, why would you need to say such nasty thing? But now today I know that it's not a nasty thing, but it's how they conform to the society, the reality that they are in. But I think back then I feel, should I just give up? Should I just, I better be somewhere less competitive because this is not an area where I'll survive. When someone said that, oh, okay, we have a task force, for example, and it's, they pick their team members and you're not paid not because you're incapable, but because they don't think that you fit into the team that they think they may not. But I think I'm lucky. I made friends for sometimes because of we know each other, so they know what I'm good at or what so we are each other's strength, for example. So we partner ourselves. So I always have partner throughout my 20 odd careers in financial services. So it's always partnering with someone, right? Someone who make me feel welcome, and Wait 1 minute.
So, just as we get Farooq back on stage, and so that Farooq can get some water, I just want to thank some of you who are putting in your comments. Hi, Iskandar and Shamini, thank you very much. Good to see you. And we are talking to Farop Sharif, who is talking about the power of dreams. And we are just about to have a conversation. How did Farooq deal with the very, very hurtful remarks that people throw at Farooq in the past? Farooq, are we good?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't be Farooq. I just want to tell you, I thank you very much. I love you. And thank
I
you for this. Thank you
yeah.
for doing.
No, I feel overwhelmed with emotion because I feel I have not thanked those supporter enough. Now I have a good friends, someone who I subsequently work together with, grow together. Those are the people that I think now looking back, and they have been my supporter, and I think I am. It's a cry of joy, to be able to meet, to be able to call them friends, and to be able to work with them, right? So for me, it's very emotional that they are able to accept me for who I am and work together hand in hand, and I'm just privileged. I'm just honored, and I'm very very uh, touched and overwhelmed as I look back, answering your questions, right? So those are, I think I like to think about those moments. Yeah. Yeah. So because for
Whatever.
me,
Yeah.
because for me, we have a choice in life. We can always go back and cry about things that we cannot change, or we can cry about the things that we have changed and be successful at, and the person that that have been supporting us. And for me, I promised myself, if I were to waste the tears, it will be on for remembering the person who given me the opportunity or the success that we've been making. So that's the one that I want to cherish. I'm not going to think about, or I'm not going to waste my energy on the negative things, thinking about what should have been done, or why am I not being given this opportunity and whatnot. I want to cry because I've been given the opportunity. I want to cry because I've made friends. I want to cry because I've made changes. I inspire someone. I coach someone. So I like to remember. I like to ponder. I like to, at the end of the day, think about all this, and I like to sleep at night and wake up the next morning with the same mission again. So that I'm sorry for the
I'm not sorry.
relapse. Yeah.
I'm not sorry. I'm very grateful that you showed up and you were very brave to be vulnerable. And I think, if you ask me, that's where the power lies, because I think the Farooq that people see is the strong diva, but people don't understand, people don't see the amount of pain you absorb, right? And on one hand, I'm celebrating because I feel you. I understand what it means to have friends, partners who believe in you, because these are the people who cheer you up and say you're on the right track, right? And as human, we need it, right? And so on one hand, I'm sharing your joy that you have these people, but on the other hand, I'm hurting with you because this is a gift for every human, to have friends, to be partners, to have enough people to believe in them. But when you don't have enough people who believe in you, we begin to, like what you say, the gratitude that you have, and what you call as privilege is very normal for a lot of people, right? And that's hurting, and that's why I'm just so grateful that you shared, because a lot of times I see people labeling people as divas, strong, as if you, because you're strong, you don't have to work at it, and there's a lot of criticism around it, right? But we need to look beyond and say, how you're countering it. So from the story that you've told me, what I'm hearing is this, right? You are such a gentle, sensitive soul that you're so sensitive, you absorb the pain and then you bounce back stronger. But what the world sees of you is the bounced back Farop, who sometimes seems like a diva, who sometimes seems like arrogant, who sometimes is full of yourself, right? That's what people see, but they don't understand what we are doing as a community, as a society, to make you that way, because that is the only way you know how to make it. Because people,
And I,
yeah, because people have said, right, sorry, you for this job, for you to express your talent, for other people you just need to contribute A and B. But Farouk, for you, A and B, you have it, but you're not good enough. So Farouk has to do B, C, D, E, and F, and then you qualify. Now that's a lot of hard work. Sorry, Farouk, you wanted to say something.
I see it as an opportunity, Mala, right? I see it, and like what you said, right? 20 years ago, your thinking is different, and 20 years later, for me, and I hope everyone who has similar experience would take it as a blessing in disguise, a silver lining in everything that we go through, because the silver lining is that you become better at what you're doing, right? So you don't take things for granted. Granted, you are 2 or 3 steps ahead, but that 2-3 step ahead become your routine. That is no longer something that you have to work very hard for, because naturally when you give something, and I was told recently that I need to gear 3 instead of gear 7, because other people may not be able to catch up, and I would they would give up, not me. So I thought that is an inspiring enough for me. But for me, it's about adapting it, right? About adapting it and being able to produce, and to being able to be a good competitor. So it's all about being a good competitor. It's not about wanting to tell that you're not good enough, and that's the last thing that I want to do. And a lot of people will misunderstand it, because when you do something and you are doing it with the utmost passion, and you say, oh, you want to make me look bad. Actually, that wasn't the intent. The intent is, I like to make sure that the goal of the company is delivered. Or if we promised A and we do more than A, and we have to do a lot better than what we promised. And so that is the whole intent, right, at the end of the day. But I think perception and the mentality, even until today, they are still thinking, you don't need to show off. But for me, it's not about showing off, right? It's about being able to deliver. And it's, for me, it's personal, right? For them, it's about being competitive. But me, when I look back, the only person that I'm competing with is myself. So that's how I've been throughout this entire journey. And I'm very, very happy that I made a real friend, right? So many, many years ago, I feel, why some people have some vibes and aura that they... But I today feel I have a lot of friends today who I know for sure appreciate me, and I appreciate them. And you are one of them, Mala. And I know that we exist because, and we are friends because we learn each other, and we are each other strengths and weaknesses, as I say, right? So you complete me and I complete you, and things that I'm good at, things that you're good at, so we leverage on each other. And because of that, I think I don't feel inadequate. I far from being inadequate. Those that around me, I have some people lucky to have 1 or 2 or 3 best friends. I have 11 best friends whom I have different interests in. Some best friends for traveling, some for my fine dining, some for shopping, and some even to chat on WhatsApp, right? So I have a circle of friends, and some of them overlap. And these are true friends who throughout the experience, I managed to then, figure out who are they and what are they and what to look for and how to to complete them, or how they can complete me, how we complete each other, and how to learn to accept each other weaknesses. So I guess that's my biggest learning when it comes to the whole experience I've had.
It seems like over a period of time in partnering, in going through the hurts, it seems to me like you found your tribe. You have enough tribal members to
Yeah.
support you, right? And that's one of those things that we're advocating, because to be authentically ourselves, to show up as ourselves, one is you need to show up, the other one is you need to be supported by tribe members who can accept you as you are, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do my best, but despite my best, there's some weaknesses that's going to show up. But I need you to hold space for me when that part of me is showing up, because I need support, and that's what friends are for, right? And I'm glad you have 11 of them, right? I'm not going to count, because I'm really, really blessed to have many people. And at this moment, I'm going to say hi to, I think, Bernadette. If I've not said hi to you, Perthpal, welcome back. Perthpal is our latest author on the book Thrive, and Iskandar. I'm glad you like my sari too. And I'm sure you remember Shamini from your previous place that you used to work. She says, yeah, only we know our capabilities and not others. So with that, thank you so much for giving us so many good nuggets. But we're not finished. Before I go on to what I call rapid fire, how has all of these experiences shaped you as a leader, Farop? How do you take all of these lessons, right? And because I'm sure you meet a lot of the young Farops in your leadership role, right? Who struggle with the sort of things you have struggled with, either it's emotionally, discrimination, prejudice, unfairness. So whatever it is, right? How do you take the wisdom from your own pain, and how does that shape you as a leader?
I am so lucky, Mala. I am so lucky. I have a circle of friends that understand, but I also have a huge supporter in the office. My bosses, almost all of them, the catalyst, also they become my biggest supporter. In my previous organization, so I report to a few bosses. They had provided me with what I needed to be able to be successful. So whenever I reflect, whenever I go out and lead, or whenever I go out and meet people or work with people, or work in an environment where we need to meet an objective, a common goal, right? So I always look back, and I always look at, and I always ask myself, well, I'm here today where I am because somebody given me the opportunity and provided me with the guidance and given me the freedom that I much needed to be able to be successful. Now, beside guidance, sometimes you need freedom, right? So sometimes personally, I am a queen control. I'm a perfectionist. So if I want A had to be delivered the way I envision it. But throughout maybe the last 5 years, more so the last 5 years, right, I realized that I can have A in mind, but I should allow people to deliver my A in a manner that they can be successful, right? So it may not be the perfect A that I envision it, but at the same time, I'm building the capability of that person, right? I'm giving them the hope that they are actually good enough, right? So instead of telling them that, excuse me, my A should be looking like this, I'm telling them that good enough, the A that you built for me is something that we can then build together to make it a lot better. So to give them that comfort, and at the same time, because that comfort was given to me by my bosses. I know in many things that I do, I will do over the top and I'll deliver, but there are certain things sometimes I feel down or I don't feel an area where I'm not good at, for example, they give me the space in order for me to get better. They don't say, I need the project to be delivered in 3 months, and this is a project that I've not done before. It's not an area that I'm good at. But when I deliver at the end of the 3 months, they know, okay, this is not what my best work, So they've given me more opportunities to make it better. So with the same tenacity, so I'll give. I thought whenever I meet with someone, the other Farop, right? So I would give them the same freedom, the same commitment, the same faith that my bosses have given me, and I think we can only make a world a better place if we replicate, and I think the true heroes in my story should be my bosses and the friends around me.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that brings us to a very important question, right? How do you choose your bosses? What what are some characteristics in this? Because I know you've always had support of your superiors when you are shining. That's what I've experienced about you. And you say this, you always give credit to your bosses and your superiors, in the organizations that you work with, right? When we chat. And that's been consistent. But I also know that you are very fussy, right? You also know what type of partnerships makes it work for you to bring out your successful recipe, right? So,
Right.
what are some traits, some characteristics, some qualities that you think, that has worked for you to build that partnership with your bosses?
Right. You are right. Okay, as being the diva I am, I have declined some job because I don't like the boss.
Yeah.
Well-paying job because I don't feel that we are able to connect. But I think the best characteristic is that that person know that I'll complete him, right? So he knows that he won't be able to do things that I'm doing. So he knows that he would have that trust, and he wants to give up that trust to me. So when you talk to that person, right, you know that trust is given, or that person is open to giving his trust to you. So for me, that is the first thing that I look for whenever I go for an interview, or even when I have some conversation with someone casually, right? So when they offered I have this opening and whatnot. So I always see whether you have the opening because you want me to drive the business, because you trust me in driving the business, or because you just need a worker to be able to do it, so that you can, for me, trust is very important, because otherwise I won't be able to work alongside with you, right? And number two, being able to be transparent, being able to, like I said, right? I won't apologize for being who I am. So I if I'm wrong, I will apologize, but I will not be apologizing for being who I am. So the boss would need to be able to accept me for who I am, and for him, and I think acceptance in this instance is not so much on the personality and whatnot. Acceptance in this instance, he knows that it's not going to be easy. He knows that working with a diva going to be a nightmare. It would be hell for him, but he knows at the same time that this diva would be the one that lifts some of the burden on his shoulder. That would be a balance. So I know in many of my other bosses, right? So when I see them, sometimes I know in my previous organization, I know my boss beat his tongue most of the time because he wants to say something, because I said it first, so he couldn't say it. But then he knows if he say it, then we will go into this conversation. But never mind, you do what you want and you deliver the result. And I don't want to say what is in my mind. So that are the characteristic of bosses that I like to work with, because I want them to know that I'm here for the long haul. I'm here to make them look good, make me look good, make the staff look good, right? So all of us on a common goal, right? So I want to be able to work towards common goal, and that's the only way I can work. If you just want me to, okay, these are the tasks that you need to do, these are the assignment and the project that you need to do, and this is how much you're going to get paid, it doesn't work for me. I need to be able to feel like family. I need to be able to feel like we are achieving something together as a team, not as an individual.
Nice. So you've actually given quite a number of nuggets, because you said, you look at your ability to connect with your boss, and I love the words, whether we complete each other or complement each other, right? So I love that, because that's what we're here. We're not here to compete, but complement each other and complete. We're complete together, right? And you're also saying, is there trust and can we be transparent with each other? So let's not have stuff under the table. Let's see whether we can put everything on the table and accept each other as we are, because only when we accept each other, we would be able to work for the common goal. So that was a lot of nuggets, two C's, one A, two C's, and two T's, right? So thank you very much, Farop, for all of that, because I think they were golden nuggets, because I think people who are often in your Farop's shoe need to know that if you want to shine, you need to find the right people who will let you switch on your light, or who will not clip your wings, because I know some people, whether it is bosses or relationships, right? You have a wing, but it's clipped. And when it's clipped, you can't fly. And when you don't fly, they tell you you're not flying. And you begin to believe that you're not good enough. So this is a very important criteria. And I'm so glad you're doing it for people too. So thank you, Farop. Are you ready for some rapid fire question? Okay. Shamini is my partner in crime in Singapore. She says, divas get things done and say what's in their mind. Farop self-confessed. I didn't see this coming. Mala is I was amazed. No one has told me I'm a diva. They've said
You are, Mala, you are.
Yeah, I know people say I'm full of myself, right? But don't tell her I told you. Sham, okay, I just read the first part, but Sham, thank you very much for that. Now, so let's do this rapid fire, Farop. Are you ready, darling?
Yes.
So bring on your diva look so that, we can do this thing, right? So tell me, what's your superpower?
I forgive myself every day.
What does being a minority mean to you?
Being able to do a lot better than everyone else.
And the greatest power that you have discovered about yourself, being a minority?
I am determined and resourceful, because there's always solution to a problem. If you look at the problem as a problem, it will always be a problem. But if you look at a problem as an opportunity to be resolved, and also a catalyst for your success, hence what I'm doing today is solving problems, solving customer experience. And I think that is the greatest thing that you can give yourself.
Nice. One thing that people misunderstand about you even now?
My divaness.
Tell us more. What's misunderstood? I mean, you're a diva. You say that. So what's the misunderstanding?
I think they find a lot of people cannot connect. They won't be able to understand. And I think I don't sugarcoat. And because I don't sugarcoat, if I say A and I don't like it because it's ugly, and they felt, most of the time they feel offended by it. And, here am I trying to tell, I say it ugly because, in order for an advertisement to go out, it had to look exactly what we designed it, right? So there's design thinking process in between, and we want the design thinking process to take place. But when you come out with something not good enough, and that is when I would say ugly, and sometimes maybe the choice of word ugly may not be the right choice of word, but this is where the misunderstanding happens. So I don't know. For me, I also take it as a learning, as much as I don't apologize for saying things, but I think at the same time, I also need to see my audience, right? Trying to be able to tell them and connect at a different level, to say ugly in a different manner, so that they don't feel offended. Yeah.
Thanks. One emotion that you still struggle with?
I think I'm cool.
Tell us more.
I struggle being cool, because I think as I developed the passion, right? So I developed my passion to do things better. I try to shut doors, all this emotion, all this. So when I do something, I can be ruthless. I say I want to, for example, I'll give you an example. When I have a project, it's a cost-cutting project, and it involves, say, some cost cutting that a decision needs to be made. I can make that decision quite easily, but behind those decisions, there's rice bowl of other people, for example. There are things that I need to consider because it impacts others as well. But when I make that decision, all those consideration is actually secondary because my goal is to deliver cost cutting, right? So and for that I've been seen as cold. But of course, at the back of my mind, when you cost cut, when you make a process improvement, when you say one is not needed, not necessarily that person will be fired. That person can be repurposed or reskilled or do other things, right? Because my goal is to make sure the whole entire ecosystem is efficient and it's automated. And sometimes it can be seen as being cold and it can be seen as being ignorant of the surrounding. But in actuality, at the back of my mind, I always think about the person or whatever behind the scene and how do I overcome that behind the scene, repurpose them, or if it's involve a person, or giving them with different skill set, retraining them, or providing them with an opportunity to be able to get better for future skill. Maybe the current skill is not good enough because no longer in demand, no longer in trend, but future skill like problem solving, for example. Those are sometimes misunderstood, and it's being misunderstood as cold.
Nice. So how does, because you said, one emotion you struggled with is being cold. How does this being cold affect you?
I think it's like fire and ice, On one hand, it is cold. On the other hand, is the fire that burning, right? So for me, because I don't find, for me, I'm a result-oriented person. So what is my objective at the end of the day? So my objective, for example, I need to be able to save costs, right? So at the same time, I would need to be able to look after the people around me or the processes and whatever not, right? So I do look at the whole ecosystem, right? So when I do something, I always do with the end goal, with the intent behind it, the objective behind it, and try to meet those objectives.
Nice.
And because of that, Mala, and I think at the same time, when we do that, or when we go on a basis where in our heart, hati mulia, right? We want to do something, we want to achieve it. But when we execute it, right, because you don't have the opportunity, and this is to answer your question, you don't have the opportunity to explain directly to the person impacted by it. So it may be perceived otherwise. So how it impact me is that I would be, I will try harder. I'll try harder to fix that problem. I will try harder to be able to see how do I solve it. So I take responsibility for the problem arising from that decision. Sometimes it's not even a problem. Sometimes for me, because I'm a sensitive person, at the same time I am cold person, I would be able to switch from A to B. So on one hand, I'm cold. On the other hand, suddenly I reach out to that person and say, "Are you all right?" And that person will say, "Just a while ago, we had this discussion and now you're telling me, am I all right?" So they may think that I'm fake, but actually, if you get to know me better, you know that I compartmentalize my life. So when it comes to decision, I need to own it. I need to make a decision and meet the objective, I would. But when I need to be able to empathize, and I do that very often. I'm not sure whether people realize it or not. I would do that, but I would not allow it to cloud my judgment. I have clarity in mind. So,
nice.
Yeah, that's my fire and ice.
Would it be fair to say that every night when you go to sleep, you sleep well?
99% of the time, yes.
Right. What's the 1%?
Sometimes I'm carried away with emotion. Sometimes it's not a right decision, it's a wrong decision. Sometimes the one that I regret the most is not a bad decision, but a decision that I feel could have been better. Because at night when I go back and when I go home and I think about how my day had been, whether it's professional or personal, I may have met my objective, but sometimes the choice of words may not be right. And that could easily, I could lose sleep over it. If I said something nasty to someone who don't deserve it, although I would tell myself, I'll forgive myself and, I'll move on and I apologize to that person maybe the next day, or I already apologized to that person, but I would ask myself, is it necessary for me to say those things?
Oh, nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Last question, right? Your legacy.
if one thing that I like people to think about when they think about me is that it's no longer. It used to be, when I built something and or when I presented something or when I created something, and I like to put a stamp that it is mine. Right? It's no longer that. It's about I don't know. The last couple of years, it's always been about how would other people that I have touched, those lives that I've touched, right? How they have progressed in life. So I like to catch up for those who I personally invest time in. Those are the people who may not have the same opportunity that I had, who came forward the last couple of years and try to ask for advice and whatnot. So I go back to them now, or every now and then ask how they are doing and to see where they are. And I hope one day I would see them to be very successful, and I'd like to smile because I know I have contributed to some of that success, although I know the main success come from that person. But I thought my definition in that instance, right, or in that scenario, is actually the time investment that I have made, telling that person he's worthy of the job, of the relationship, of the friendship, of the whatever undertaking that person is doing. Sometimes that one word, right, will be your make or break. So I would like to think that I have contributed enough in that sense.
Thank you. Shamli says that's holding yourself to high standards, Farop. Yeah, Farop only has high standards or nothing else in between. There's only high standards. Sham, when you get a chance to work with him, you will know that. Shamini is another one who has high standards. So I think she relates to all that you're saying because her standards are like there, right? I'm just going to, before I say goodbye and thank you to you again, Farooq, just want to read some comments. It's come up. Nirmala is saying, missed the beginning. Great to be able to catch the last part. Yes, Nirmala, it'll be worth watching this. Gerald says, thank you for sharing. You got my name wrong, Malar, and Farooq for sharing another wonderful Friday. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Gerald, for always supporting us. Jacqueline, my wonderful cousin, says, awesome chat, being authentic, at best, being the complete you. Thanks, Malar, for this wonderful session. John Peter, you're late today. Yes, he's just joined us from India. Hi, John. And I think we've read the others. So all the comments will tell you that, the hour that you gave to us, has surely made a difference to some of us and to many of us who will be watching it later. So Farooq, I really want to thank you for always being honest, for saying yes, and most importantly, for always putting out what you feel very directly and honestly with me, because I think if it's not for that, I won't be able to call you my friend. So with that, thank you very much. Have a beautiful weekend. Doing whatever you do. I look forward to catching up with you in your style, wherever that is. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mala.
Right. As we say bye to Farooq, I want to thank Jenny Leong. Thank you very much for all those who joined us and who have been actively supporting us. Thank you very much in joining us in Being Whole, Being Me series. This month we are focused on personal growth. Next week we are having a wonderful friend of mine. This is a really close friend whom I've known for years, who's going to share his journey. And I just want to leave today's session because I'm really inspired by Farooq to tell you a story that helps me when I feel, I'm pushing stuff and nothing is working for me. So there was this guy and he wanted to be successful and he tried all sorts of things and he was really, really disappointed, really at the point of giving up. And he said, I'm going to give up. And as he said that, he said, God, even you let me down. And as he said that, a genie appeared. And the genie said, hey, how can I help you, And he complained and he said, even God has given up on me. And the genie said, no worries, God has sent me. Your job now is to, be successful. God said, you need to push the wall. And before he could even clarify the question, the genie had gone away. So what he started doing is he started pushing the wall. He pushed and pushed and pushed. The wall didn't move at all, right? And he was like really getting upset. People were laughing at him, but he kept pushing. But at some point, he wanted to give up. And just at this moment when he wanted to give up and just let go of this whole thing and say, even God has given up on me, the genie appeared again. And the genie said, "Hey, what's happening?" And he said, what, even God has, not given me the answers that I want. You came, you asked me to push the wall, and nothing is actually happening. I really think I'm going to give up on this. This is really a waste of my time. As he said, the genie said, "Hey, hang in there," held him by his hand, pulled him, and made him stand in front of the mirror. And as he stood in front of the mirror, the genie said, "Have you looked at yourself?" And this guy was a little bit surprised because he couldn't recognize the transformation that has taken on, because he had built muscles. And he looked, he said, "Whoa, so many changes, and I didn't realize it." And that's when the genie turned around and said, "You see, if you want to be successful, the reason God asked you to push the wall, not for the wall to move, but for you to become stronger so that you are then ready for the challenges that comes with your success." So with that, we've heard stories from Farop as how he continued pushing walls that didn't shift by doing the C, D, E, and F, but it has definitely made Farop stronger and be the success Farop is today. With that, thank you very much. Have a beautiful weekend. I will see you next week with another wonderful friend of mine who has worked his life around with the changes, major changes that happens in his life. I'll be bringing Sharul Azmi next Friday at 12. With that, have a great weekend. Signing off, this is Malar from Hearts and Minds Development Center.